Hi everyone, it's Cathay from TreeHouse Blues. Today's episode occurs at age 4. We lived in Hollywood, California. It is called The Visit. The screen door slammed behind me. Grandmama's big Hoover roared on inside, slightly muted. Outside on the cool porch of our stucco house, I stopped. I cocked my head at the wavering fronds of the palm tree. Just barely they waved at me. How did they do that? It's not windy? Because it's alive. Mommy told me that it was. I stared back and waved my fingers up and down. Grasping the rail, I twisted backward. Mommy, I'm going for a visit to Mrs. Brady. Then began my descent. I waddled from side to side, stiff-legged, savoring the pavement jolt. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, shut the door. La Mirada Street stretched on and on before me, like a huge rolling sea of tar and concrete. I glanced down at my feet. Are the diamonds out today? Sure enough, shimmering like specks of fairy dust, the sidewalk spoke to me of my riches. My diamonds! So many I couldn't count them, but I knew my feet sparkled on the bottom with all those diamonds underneath them. I stared hard at each jeweled square as my feet squished down, spilling them out on either side. Hey, Cathay, slow poke today. 6-year-old Lacey streaked by. Skipping as always, she smiled smugly back at me before sailing ahead. I studied her from behind as she bounced up and down after each step. How does she do that? I lunged forward, leaping with all my might, but I knew it wasn't a skip. Faster I pushed, slapping my side now as I galloped. Giddy-up! I was a horse, flying across the plain, my tail streaming behind me, my legs blurred in the wind, my nose darted upward as I rattled my head. I stopped. Mrs. Brady's house. She was always asking me to come visit. I say nothing. Instead, I stare at her purse, straps over one arm, clutched tightly against her dress with the other. Shiny brown with gold studs edging the top. What's inside? She leans over me with her bright red lips. I'd like to see that lipstick. Maybe it's inside that purse. Grandmama carries a pretty gold-handled mirror inside hers. See the monkey? She says. Try as I might, I never find the monkey in the mirror, only me. Maybe only Grandmama can see it. I like the mirror, though. I wonder what special treasures are inside Mrs. Brady's purse. I tripped up the pansy-lined path to the porch. Without warning, the screen door flew open. Why, hello there! A stranger in a white cap and shirt dress smiled at me. Were you looking for Mrs. Brady? I nodded. Let her in, Miss Marie. I entered the darkened chamber. All the blinds were shut in the living room. Books lined the windowsills and floor, lots and lots of books. And there, right in the middle of the room, was a bed. Mrs. Brady lay sprawled across it, the bedding rumpled about her. Why, you've come at last. Miss Marie, this is Catha from down the street. How are you today, Catha? Why doesn't she say my name right? Would you like some lemonade? I nodded, staring at the legs of the bed. Marie, get her a glass, will ya? Mrs. Brady propped herself up on her elbow, then collapsed with a groan. Lacey said she had a broken hip. I craned my neck, trying to see where it was broken. Maybe they already glued it and she has to wait for it to dry. Don't ever get old. It'll eat you like a spider. I stumbled backward and bumped into a little table. 2 figurines toppled over, a white poodle and a calico cat. I carefully set them right, longing to play with them, but I didn't dare. Miss Marie reappeared with a tall glass of lemonade, half full. Sipping the ice-cold drink, I stared up at Mrs. Brady over the rounded rim. "How's your grandma?" "Fine." "And your mother and dad?" "Fine." "How many babies does she have?" I held up 2 fingers, carefully relinquishing one hand from the glass. "And how old are you?" I held up 4 fingers. "You shouldn't be so shy, child. Cat got your tongue." Instinctively, I stuck out the doubted member as proof, then slapped my hand over it in case she thought me rude. I shook my head. She threw back hers with a big bellowing laugh. But she stopped short with a cry, rubbing her side. "Marie, bring me the bedpan." I stared as Miss Marie threw back the covers, lifted Mrs. Brady's bottom, and stuck it right inside a huge silver dish. Quickly, she tucked the sheet around her again. What is she doing? Mrs. Brady paid no attention to me, but stared straight ahead. Why is she sitting in a dish? I waited a moment, then gazed all around the book-lined room, searching for that special purse. Not in sight. "Marie, don't leave it here." Miss Marie hurried back into the living room, threw up the covers once more, and retrieved the silver bowl. Slowly this time, she carried it past me on her way down the hall. Standing on tiptoe, I glimpsed inside just before it disappeared. Water in there. No. Oh, she went to the potty in the silver bowl. I stared at her. Oh my goodness. She cocked her head and grimaced. "Like I said, Katha, never get old." I nodded, the mysterious brown purse long forgotten. I set my glass on the little table next to the dog and cat and gazed at the door. "You want to leave so soon?" Yes." Mrs. Brady shook her head a moment, her eyes to the ceiling. "Marie, get the door, will ya? Our guest wants to leave." Cringing, her voice is so loud. I tried to smile, then dropped my eyes to the floor. Miss Marie silently held the screen door open for me. "You come back and see me now, you hear?" Down the path I flew once more in the sunshine day. "Mrs. Brady is a lady. Mrs. Brady is a lady. Hop, hop, hop." Up the driveway and around the back of our house I marched, singing my new song. Suddenly I stopped. There, peeking out of the open garage, something silver glinted in the sun. Leaning on its side against the washer was Mommy's old silver pie tin. I yanked it up and rubbed my hand around the inside of it, feeling its smooth, warmed surface. Then I gazed around the garage till I spied a wooden crate in the corner. Grunting, I dragged that crate over to the washer and set it upright. Then, one hand on the rounded top of the washer, another clutching my precious find, I scrambled up onto the crate and heaved myself stomach first on top of the washer. Whoa, it was slippery. I finally jockeyed myself upright, legs straddling the curved surface of the white enamel throne. With a cry of triumph, I lifted my body ever so slightly and sat down hard on my silver prize, Mrs. Brady's bedpan. I glanced down at the ground far below. I was higher than everyone else. Miss Marie, I am finished. You get in here and get my silver bowl. I began rocking back and forth, holding on to the sides of the pie pan. Miss Marie, you come here right now. I raised myself up so she could see I meant business. I mean it! All of a sudden, the garage tilted sideways as I slipped in slow motion down the cool surface of the washer, my bedpan flinging up in the air and over my head. The cement floor raced up to me and slammed into me. I stared up at the blue sky just outside the garage, my bottom aching, my arm and shoulder bruised and throbbing. Mama! The screen door slammed, feet running, arms surrounding me as Mommy hoisted me up onto her shoulder. What happened? What happened, darling? I fell off of the washing machine. Grandmama peered at me from behind her. Land sakes, child, whatever were you doing up there? I was playing Mrs. Brady. Good gracious, I never saw Mrs. Brady climb on a washer. But I tell you what, come on inside and you can help me make a lemon pie. I clapped my mouth shut, frozen in mid-sob, and stared back into those piercing green eyes. Mommy set me down with a kiss. Then she took my hand, and the two of us followed Grandmama down the driveway, up the tall back steps, and into the kitchen. Thank you. Until next time, we'll meet again. Bye.